So you're good technically, maybe you are even great. You solve complex problems, you ship good code, you know your stack inside out. But why does that guy, the one who's technically worse than you, he keeps on getting promoted first? Because technical skills got you here, right? You're good. But they won't take you further than this. There's a second game being played, and most developers don't even know it exists. My name is Lucas Tinchin, software engineer for over a decade. I've worked for American companies, European companies, startups. For a long time, I believed the same lie you probably have believed. The lie that if you're good enough, the market will recognize you. But that if you write clean code, promotions will happen. That if you master the technology, opportunities will appear. And this is partially true, right? But it's an incomplete truth. And incomplete truths are the most dangerous nowadays. So let me tell you what I have observed in over 10 years in the global market. The developers who earn the most money are rarely the most technical guys. The developers who get promoted fastest, they aren't always the ones shipping the most quantity of code. The developers who have the most options, they aren't necessarily the best programmers. Does this maybe frustrate you? Because it should, but not because the system is unfair, because you are playing the wrong game. So here's the truth that nobody actually tells you in university, for example, that no boot camp teaches, that no tech course is even mentioning. The market doesn't pay for competence. The market pays for perceived competence. Read that again. Perception. It's not what you know, it's what others think you know. It's not what you deliver, it's how others perceive what you deliver. And the tool that controls the perception, it isn't your code. It's your presence, it's your communication, it's your charisma. Now, when I say charisma, you probably think like this introvert guy being the loudest guy in the meeting, in the room, being charismatic like a TV host. No, that's not what charisma is about. That's noise, okay? Charisma for developers is something that is completely different. It's the ability to make people trust you and become a trustable person before you prove anything to anyone. It's the skill of communicating complex ideas in a way that non-technical people will understand and trust you and value you. It's the presence that makes when you speak in a meeting, people actually stop and listen. Okay? Do you get it? Charisma isn't about being the loudest. It's just about being the most trusted. So why does it matter, right? In the AI era, why does it matter especially now? Because we are living through the biggest probably shift in tech since the creation of the internet. AI is automating code. Tools like Copilot, Cursor, Windsurf, Cloud, they are doing seconds what used to take hours. And you know what AI cannot do? You probably wonder that right now, or have wondered that. Walk into a meeting with stakeholders, make them trust the project, communicate a technical problem in a way that makes the CEO understand the urgency, navigate into the company politics, build strategic alliances globally, lead a team through uncertainty. This is human, this is irreplaceable, and this is exactly what developers are ignoring. So let me give you a simple to-do framework, something practical, something that you can apply today, starting tomorrow, or even today. I call it the 3 pillars of developer charisma. The pillar number 1 is presence, the pillar number 2 is clarity, and the pillar 3 is your narrative. Let's go through each one. Presence, I already talked about, is how, on other videos, is how you occupy your space, not physically, but mentally. When you join a call, on dailies and etc., do people feel your energy, or are you just another square on Zoom and Teams and etc.? Your presence actually begins before you say anything. It starts with your posture, your eye contact, your calmness. Anxious developers, they speak fast, they want to show work, they interrupt, they fidget, they look down. The developers with presence, they speak calmly, they pause, they hold eye contact. They occupy the space without apologizing for anything. And this is an arrogance, it's quiet authority, you trust yourself. And here's the secret. Presence isn't something you are born with, it's something that you can train. How? First, your posture. You sit straight, shoulders back, relaxed, the chin parallel to the ground. Seems basic, right? It is basic. But how many developers and even people do you know who actually do this? So the second is speed. Speak slower than you think is necessary. Pause longer than feels comfortable. People with authority, they are not in a hurry. So after that, the silence. You don't need to fill every little second with words. Silence communicates confidence. Those who fear silence, they will appear insecure. Second pillar, okay, is clarity. Clarity. Here's a quick test. Can you explain what you do to your grandmother in one sentence? Like most developers can. They start talking about frameworks, languages, architectures, and lose the person in 5 or even less seconds. So clarity is not oversimplifying, it's translating the complexity into impact. So let me give you a simple example. I refactored the authentication module using OAuth 2.0 with Pix Flow and implemented refresh token rotation to improve security. Now the version with clarity. So I made the login more secure. Now hackers can steal the passwords even if they intercept the connection. This protects our 100,000 users. So which of this makes the CEO and the people value you more? The first shows you technical. Sometimes it's necessary, but the second shows you understand the business. Few developers understand the business. And here's the truth. Everyone assumes you're technical, right? You're a developer. You were hired to do that. What differentiates you is showing you understand the impact of your work. So how do you develop clarity? First, you need to always try to connect technical to outcomes. It's not I implemented X, it's I implemented X which enables Z for X people. Then you use numbers. It's not, oh, I improved performance. It's I reduced load time by 40%. Numbers are concrete. Adjectives are vague. Then you can practice explaining to non-developer people, your parents, your friends, your wife. If they understand and find it interesting, you have clarity. If you explain to a child and you have clarity, you got it. So after that you have narrative. Humans don't connect with data. They connect with stories. Pause. End of story. Most developers don't get it. They don't tell any stories. When someone asks about a project that you work in, the typical answer usually is, oh, I use Angular with NGRX, implemented lazy loading, integrated with Node backend, yeah. So that's a list of technologies, it's not a story. A story has basically three parts. It has the conflict, the journey, and the transformation. Same project, okay? When I joined the project, the app took 80 seconds to load. Users were abandoning the checkout. We investigated that and found that we were loading everything at once. I implemented the strategic lazy loading, modularized the architecture, and we reduced it to 8 to 2 seconds. So the abandonment rate dropped to 35%. Do you feel the difference? Then you have the conflict, slow app, users abandoning. Then you have the journey, investigation, implementation, and the transformation to results. This is narrative. And narrative is what makes people remember your name. When you are being interviewed, don't list the technologies, tell stories. When you are present in a project, don't just show the code, show the journey, show the proof of thinking. When you want to be promoted, don't talk about your skills. Talk about the problems you solve. Now you probably might be thinking, for example, this is manipulation, this is playing political games, and I don't want to be political. I just want to code in peace with my headphones on and don't want to talk with nobody. And I understand, I was that guy. I thought this way for years. But here's the reality. You're already playing the game, whether you want or you don't want to play the game. The difference is really that you can play the game consciously or you can play it badly without realizing it. So your charisma is not about being a fake person and lying. It's about communicating your real value in a way others can perceive. So you're good, but nobody knows. So in practice, you're not good. Because the market doesn't reward hidden developers. There's a hidden merit. So the market rewards perceived value. And here's where this connects to something even bigger, okay? Most developers are fragile. Their income depends on one employer, their identity depends on one job title, their security depends on a company's decisions. So the anti-fragile developer builds multiple income vectors, creates a personal brand as insurance, develops skills that compound across companies. And charisma, it's the multiplier. Technical skills are the foundation, yes, but charisma is what makes those skills visible, valuable, replaceable. The developer who can code and can communicate, who can build and lead, who can solve problems and make others trust the solution, this developer doesn't fear layoffs. That developer doesn't beg for interviews. That developer becomes a magnet. Companies chase them, not the other way around. So, how do you start? Let me give you 3 concrete actions you can do and apply right now after seeing this video for this week or for today. Action 1 is in your next meeting, you speak 30% slower than you usually think. Pause for 2 seconds before you answer any question. Just that, simple. You will feel strange at first. People will kind of feel you different, will hear you differently also. Another one you can do is take a project you completely recently, write its story, the conflict, the journey, the transformation in one paragraph. Practice saying it out loud at the mirror, you with yourself. Third action, every time you explain something technical this week, end up with this impact. What this means is basically, so the result of this is, for the users, this means 3 simple actions, basically. Really simple. Presence, clarity, narrative. And if you're interviewing right now, this becomes even more critical. Most developers prepare for interviews by memorizing algorithm solutions, basically, reviewing data structures, practicing code challenges. And then they wonder why they fail behavioral rounds, why they can't negotiate salary, why companies go with someone else who seemed less technical, but more confident. So here's what actually happens in interviews. Technical rounds filter out the incompetence. Behavior rounds select the charismatic and, oh, I want to work with this guy. You need to pass the technical bar. Sure, that's correct. But what gets you the offer, what gets you the higher salaries, what makes them remember you over the 10 other candidates is and will be how you made them feel. Did they trust you? Did they see you as a future leader, as a trustable person? Did they want to work with you? These are charisma questions, not technical questions. So this is especially true in the global market today, because when you're competing for USD positions, you're not competing against your local peers. You're competing against engineers worldwide. And here's what I observed from that. Developers from certain countries tend to over-index on technical preparation and under-index on communication. This actually creates an opportunity because most of your competition will have similar technical skills, but very few will communicate with clarity. Very few will tell compelling stories. Very few will have true presence. If you develop these skills, you're not competing against millions. You're competing against the small percentage who invested in the complete package. And that's a much smaller circle to compete with. So let me finish with this. You probably spent years, maybe even more, a decade or more, developing your technical skills. And that still matters. That's the foundation. Without technical or competence, none of this works. But technical competence is the price of entry. Just that. It's the minimum to be in the game. What separates you after that, for those who earn well from those who earn great, is what separates those who are employed from those who are pursued by companies. It's what separates those who work hard from those who lead. It's the second layer: presence, clarity, narrative. So charisma is not a gift, it's a skill, and like every skill, it can be developed. The question is really, if will you keep just coding and coding without direction, or will you invest in what actually scales your career? So technical skills, they got you here, but charisma will get you further. My name is Lucas Tinchin. If this resonated with you, I'm building something called the Global Dev OS. It's a complete operating system for developers who want to become globally visible, not just employable. Link is in the description, and see you in the next one.